Exercise 1. In this exercise, we'll use the data validation feature to create a report filter. The Exercise 1 worksheet represents the report. We will use data validation on the input cell to allow the user to select a transaction type from an in-cell dropdown. We want the report to include the transactions for the selected type. The data is stored on the E1 data sheet. The table is named TBL E1 data. The E1 list worksheet contains the list of choices for the in-cell dropdown. Since data validation doesn't directly support structured table references, we need to create a custom name. Start by selecting the range, then open up the name manager. Create a new name, dd_types, which refers to the type column of the TBL E1 list table. With the new custom name set up, let's build the report. The first step is to use data validation to provide an in-cell dropdown. Select the input cell and then open data validation. We want to allow a list equal to our custom name, dd_types. Okay, let's test it out. Looks good. The report formula is easy. Equals SUMIFS. Add up the TBL E1 data amount column. Only include those rows where the TBL E1 data name column is equal to our name, and where the TBL E1 data type column is equal to the selected transaction type. Fill the formula down. Now, let's test it out. We can select another type from the dropdown, and the report is filtered accordingly. Or we could include all types. All right, let's move on. Exercise 2. In this exercise, we'll use the data validation feature to allow the user to pick the report columns. The Exercise 2 worksheet is the report. The E2 data worksheet is the data. The table is named TBL E2 data. The E2 list contains the list of choices. Since data validation doesn't support table names directly, we'll set up a custom name. Highlight the list and open the name manager. Add a new name, dd_departments, that refers to the name column of the TBL E2 list table. Now, let's build the report. First, let's provide the in-cell dropdown lists. Highlight both input cells, data validation, allow a list equal to dd_departments. Okay, let's test out the dropdown. Based on the selection, the dynamic report headers update accordingly. So far, so good. Next, let's set up the report formulas. Equals SUMIFS, add up the TBL E2 data amount column, only include those rows where the TBL E2 data account column is equal to our account. Since we're going to fill the formula down and to the right, we lock down the column reference. And only include those rows where the TBL E2 data department column is equal to our column header. Since we're going to fill the formula down and to the right, we lock down the row reference. Close the function and hit enter. Fill the formula down and to the right. Now, let's test it out. We pick different departments, and yeah, the report values update accordingly. So cool. Exercise 3. In this exercise, we'll continue to explore data validation by setting up a custom data validation rule. We want to allow the user to enter a report date, but the report date must be entered as the first day of the month. We will write formulas that will compute the report values correctly when the first day of the month is entered. Highlight the input cell. Note that it is named R_date. Now, data validation. Allow custom. If the day is equal to 1, the formula should return true. Otherwise, it should return false. This is easily performed with a simple comparison formula. Equal to day of our date equal to 1. If the day of the entered date is equal to 1, this comparison formula returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. Let's see if it works. Enter a date with the date equal to 1 and It is allowed. Good. Enter a date with another day, and it is rejected. Perfect. Let's wrap this exercise up by writing the report formulas. Equals SUMIFs. Add up the TBL E2 data amount column. Only include those rows where the account column is equal to our account and where the TBL E2 data date column is greater than or equal to our date and where the TBL E2 data date column is less than or equal to the last day of the month. EO month, our date, 0, close the functions and hit enter. Fill the formula down. Now, we should be able to enter a different report date. And yes, the report values update as expected.
This video is a production of Click Consulting.